an exploration company in 1936 formed by Shell with stakeholders Standard Vacuum Oil Company, now Mobil Oil, and Exxon. Far Pacific Investments, Chevron subsidiary, files a report. Moving forward, 1959, New York Times newspaper publishes Dutch to explore New Guinea. Remote section of disputed territory will be object of intensive research. In that article I read, quote, 40 tons of supplies have been sent in advance near the border. Included are beads and clothing for the Stone Age indigenes. Dozy report on finding lands in the hands of geologist Forbes Wilson, who works for Freeport McMoran Copper and Gold, whose directors are 1% Mr. Rockefeller, a US Secretary of Defense, Chevron Chairman, President and CEO of Freeport. Here comes politics. 1962, New York Agreement, signed at the headquarters, our United Nations New York Agreement between Indonesia and Netherlands concerning West Papua. 1963, Dutch New Guinea transferred administration to Indonesia. 1967, Indonesia introduces foreign investment laws, and here begins the destruction to the environment and the people of Papua. Under the contract of Freeport was giving mining rights for 30 years within a 250,000 acre concession. The company was under no obligation to the traditional Papuan owners of the land, who were excluded from the consultations. Freeport was not required to pay compensation, nor was it obligated to participate in local or provincial development. There was no environmental restrictions on the mining operations. 1977, Free Papua movement attacked the mine, causing tens of millions of damages. From that, 800 Papuans died by Indonesian militia. Here begins Indonesia militia involvement and overseas aid funding in training and development of military. Australia's own Lombok Treaty and Freeport. 1988, Freeport announced that only a couple of kilometres away from the hole where the original mountain they investigated, they had found its El Dorado, Grasberg. Protected both physically and politically by the regime, the company was given 2 new contracts, which by 1994 allowed it to explore approximately 9 million acres. A mine, one of the most promising mineralized zones of the globe for another 50 years. 1996, Rio Tinto freely chose to enter an arrangement with Freeport to finance mine expansion at Grasberg in return for a share of their profits. Let's fast forward, present. Grasberg mine has brought in excess of $100 billion to its owners. It is the largest gold mine and second largest copper mine in the world. But to the people of West Papua, it has brought poverty and oppression. It dumps over 200,000 tons of tailings in the river each day. This process is expected to continue for up to 6 more years, at which point exploration will go underground until there is no value left in that mountain. Freeport estimates that this will occur in 2041. What are we going to do?
Stop it.
The detection of acid mine drainage from the waste rock, copper contamination of mollusks in the estuary and rivers. Papuans have had to abandon their villages because it's surrounded by mine waste. I thought God could only move mountains. Freeport and Rio Tinto has inflicted appalling environmental damage and ignored the human rights of West Papuan people experiencing torture, intimidation and heavy military presence. Australia government funds military training through their Lombok Treaty overseas aid. Free West Papua Campaign Australia is a global movement affiliated with other West Papuan associations. So to take action, why? We're a small group with a loud voice to make a difference. Isn't that why we're here? West Papua are fighting for freedom, for self-determination, so it can reclaim and inherit the land that is rightfully theirs.